Today's video is going to be helping you relax about the manifestation process. I've watched enough videos in my time and I've helped enough people in my time to see that it feels like you have to thread the needle, hit some kind of bullseye on the subconscious mind. Otherwise, you'll have to wait more days, more weeks, more months. This couldn't be further from the truth. And in fact, there's actually quite a lot of wiggle room within the manifestation process. We just have to understand truly where we're allowed to wiggle and where we should really tighten up. So that's what I'll be doing today, because trust me, as far as being a human goes and as far as being a manifester goes, I am far from perfect. But yet I manifested my SP back. I manifested this house as perfect for my family and me. I manifested the 5-figure months in my business, reconciled relationships with family members, and much more. Because I understand where you can wiggle and where you should tighten up. And this video is going to be helping you understand that too, so that you can feel like you can let go a little bit and enjoy the process, opposed to struggling, grafting, and just killing yourself trying to get it right. So if that's what you feel like you need, if you feel like you've been holding too tightly and it still doesn't seem to be working, this video is for you. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My name is Matthew, as you'll probably know from the channel name. If you need my help to tailor advice to your situation directly, everything is linked down below in the comment section and the description. But for now, thank you for your time. Now let's dive in. So, wiggle room in manifestation, it's not as hard as it's made out to. There's a lot more exaggeration and accentuation than there needs to be. What can we do about it? Well, let me start by just kind of giving you a little bit of a preface. You'll find this kind of thing in every single department, in every single field across the globe. Whether it's from the Flat Earth Society, the Manosphere, self-improvement, or certain physics fields or something like that, no matter where you look, in anything where you're trying to get people to hear you out, there will always be this power creep, for want of a better term, where what started out as a simple topic, let's take the Flat Earth Society for the purposes of this example, what started off as just the earth is flat, we've been lied to, has now diverged itself into there's a giant ice wall around what we know to be Earth. Outside of that, there's dragons, there's other societies, there's aliens, there's all this, that, and the other. And then when you look even deeper into it, you'll see imagery where, no, the Earth is actually a globe, but what we're on is flat. Because when you zoom far enough out, you've got us, this ice wall, and then a ginormous globed Earth. It just develops more and more and more because people want eyes on their content. People want to be heard, and sometimes in order to be heard, you have to make it seem like you have the missing piece. So that's why it can feel like manifestation is threading the needle. You have to hit some bullseye for your subconscious mind to finally hear it, otherwise you're failing. If you haven't done SATs perfectly, then you might as well have just thrown the whole evening in the bin and things like that. But let me ask you this little question, and I want you to just take a moment to think about it. With the things that you experience that are undesired, that you can sit there and say, yep, I was thinking about that and it happened, were you perfecting SATs every single night doing it? Were you actively sitting there and reaffirming it over and over and over again in structured times? Chances are no. If yes, why would you be doing that to yourself? But chances are it was just simply thoughts that you just kept having going on in your head. And on some particularly bad days, it created a feeling alongside of it that accentuated the fear, the sadness, the anger, whatever. But nonetheless, when we boil it down, the negatives that you experienced were just a consistent looping of thoughts or consistently acting upon negative beliefs and so on. You weren't threading a needle. You weren't desperately trying to fall asleep to this scene every single night of your person leaving or of you not getting the job. You were just looping thoughts. Now, why is it? Well, because at its very core of manifestation, at its very core of consciousness creates, we go back to The idea that it is your dominant state regarding a story that you experience. If you do the perfect sat session, yes, you will likely have done a huge benefit to your subconscious mind in feeding it that desired story. But if you do the perfect sat session and then the day after sit there panicking, doubting, fearing, worrying, concerning yourself, and so on, you're likely uprooting that sat session anyway, because you're feeding the subconscious mind that new story, or not new story, that negative story, even in spite of that amazing sat session. So what we need to look at when it comes to this wiggle room and this perfection stuff, yes, when it comes to doing the manifestation work, I do recommend you try to be as good at it as you can be. Not to the degree that you're forcing it and becoming frustrated, but yes, have a routine. Do your 5 to 10 minutes in the morning. Do your 5 to 10 minutes in the evening. Keep an eye on your thoughts as you go through the day. Do some manifestation work when you've got nothing else going on, like going for a walk or washing up or something. Because we want to be proactive with showing our subconscious mind we have what we want. We are, we are the new version. But where the wiggle room comes in is you don't have to be perfect at it. You don't have to make sure that you catch every single thought. You don't have to make sure that you fall asleep to the desired outcome. Otherwise, it won't manifest. Yes, the better you can do, the better you'll have of a journey, and the sooner you'll get your successes and so on. Because you'll be sooner impressing the subconscious mind, and it'll be sooner playing it out for you. The wiggle room comes in the fact that if you've missed a couple of thoughts during the day, that's fine. Just get back on the horse when you can. If you don't fall asleep perfectly to your sat session, that's fine. Try again tomorrow. This is all a process of consistency and practice and persistence in trying to be the best you can. You don't have to catch every thought. You don't have to have the perfect sat session. You just need to do the best you can to show more dominantly to your subconscious mind, as far as your desire is concerned, you have it. When opposing thoughts come up, do the best you can to regulate, do some deep breathing, do some EFT tapping or something, just to settle the mind, and then redirect back to, I have what I want. I can relax because it's already here. Where many people screw up, and I've made this video based on a couple of emails that I've received recently. I guess with me taking a couple of weeks off, people were a little bit like, where's Matthew? I need his help. But what I've realized, or what I've been experiencing from my emails lately, is that people are so concerned with getting it perfect because they've seen videos saying you need to be doing sats, and if you don't, it's pointless, and things like that, that it's putting the pressure on them to get it right. And that pressure is creating itself into, is breeding itself into some form of need or dependency or attachment or idolizing the technique, which is separating you from having what you desire, because you're saying, I need to do this right. If I don't get what I want, which is stating, I don't have what I want. And then when you go into it with that high level of pressure and you don't perfect your sat scene, or you don't have the perfect affirmations, or you have a bit of a groggy day and aren't able to catch every thought, pillow fell down, made me jump, then it accentuates the gap between you and what you desire, and so on. Now, I've stated it a few videos before, and I've said it in a couple of my sessions, and I want you to hear this. I would rather you have, Jesus, my voice is giving out today. I would rather you have an average routine and an average manifestation process, but are detached, relaxed, and sort of just going at it like, yeah, this is chill, I'm doing it, I'm great at this, opposed to having the perfect routine, the perfect sat sessions, the perfect everything, but every day you're like, did I do it right? Where is it? Why is it not here? What more do I have to do? And you're clutching at it, because the universe works better when we let it flow. Flow state. Think of any sport. Think of any talent. Think of anything. People singing will hit the better notes when they let themselves just surrender to the note, opposed to trying to force it out and get there. You ever tried singing in your car? You ever tried hitting that Celine Dion pitch? I think it's Celine Dion that does the really high pitch. I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar on pop music and stuff. But you ever tried to hit a really high note and you're like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And you go for it and it's shit. Because you've worked yourself up and you put so much pressure and it's like, it's just awful. But when you're just singing with your mates in the car, you're just having a good old time, or maybe you're at like a party or something and you're just a little bit tipsy and you're just singing away, gorgeous. You hit the note perfectly because you flow. You ever been playing a sport and you're trying so hard to score and you just miss? You hit the crossbar, you hit the post, you hit the backboard and it bounces off, whatever sport. But it's not until you just decide, you know what, screw it, you just fling the basketball. Oh, swish. You know what, I'm just going to crack this ball. Oh, I've hit the crossbar. While you're playing the crossbar game. Things like that. Flow. Everything works better when you let it flow. But letting it flow is not surrendering to what is. Letting it flow is deciding the direction and allowing it to happen in that direction. Think of like a riverbank, for example, or a river, it cuts through where there isn't a path yet, with enough water crashing into it. Eventually it erodes away and it creates a new path. What we're doing is we're letting that same eroding away happen by continuing to direct our focus towards the desired outcome, but staying calm and relaxed and trusting in it. Hopefully those little examples, analogies, imageries and things have kind of accentuated my point, but to just round this off, I suppose, and try to get it back to the premise of this video, if when creating the negative, you weren't perfecting some form of routine and you still experienced it, that should show you that you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have the perfect SATs session. You don't need to have the perfect visualizations. You don't need to have the perfect statements. You just need to be continuous and consistent and persistent in guiding your attention in a direction. Now we're just being intentional with that direction by noticing, I'm thinking negative, let me guide it back to my favorable outcome. I've got a goal in mind. Let me continuously think as though that goal has already been completed. And you stay focused in that direction from a calm, relaxed, yeah, it's done manner. You sit back, you relax. Yeah, I've got what I want. It's chill. Thoughts come to mind, just take a couple of deep breaths. Yeah, it's mine. I can relax. I'm gonna get on with my day. I've already got the relationship. Oh, it's nighttime. Let me just enjoy this visualization of me with my person. Let me just enjoy imagining what it would be like to have that house. I know what I just did there was kind of like mild, examples to kind of get my point across. But did you see how relaxed I was kind of doing it? Oh, I've had some negative thoughts. Let me just... I'm in the most loving relationship. Say it with a smile. Say it with some gusto. Person and I, we have such an amazing relationship. I'm so happy we can spend our lives together. Get yourself feeling good and then get on with your day. You know what? I'm about to go to bed. You know what I'd really love to do? I would really love to imagine what it would be like to have a Ferrari and have my girl next to me in it. Or, I'd love to imagine what it would be like to have moved away to my dream country or dream location. And my kids are just playing in the swimming pool that's in our back garden because I'm so rich I can afford it. And my kids are just in the back garden and my partner's cooking pancakes, for example. What would that be like? Let me just enjoy it. Not to manifest it, to enjoy it. But you know what happens? By just enjoying it, by letting it flow, by just imagining it, or even just saying, you know what? I love having this house where there's a pool in the garden and my kids love it and my partner's cooking pancakes. My life is perfect. You know what happens when you do that while just enjoying yourself? You manifest. Because your subconscious mind is always listening. It's not like you go, oh, I'm manifesting now. Let me just press the button. Subconscious mind, listen, I'm manifesting now. You're always manifesting. So even if you're just doing things from a state of joy, your subconscious mind is hearing it. Now imagine you're a subconscious mind for a moment and you take in state, you take in story. What do you think you would likely have more time creating? A scene where someone is just really enjoying themselves. It feels real. They're just letting it play. They're just having so much joy in taking the example of the house, they're just having so much joy in seeing their kids playing in the backyard swimming pool. Do you reckon that feels more real? Or, no, stop, I need to think about this. Okay, I need to fall asleep to it. What did that video say? That video said to count back from 50. Okay, 49, 48, 47. Did I leave the stove on? 45, 44. Obviously, I accentuated and made the latter sound worse than it was to kind of show the divide. But imagine trying to take in a story. What do you think is going to be more real? What do you think is going to feel more real? Doing it from a state of joy and just letting the mind flow in that direction, or trying to force something? Now, I know this video has kind of gone in all of these backward tangents, and I suppose that's probably where the whiteboard is helpful because it keeps me sort of locked in. But you see where I'm coming from? Again, I'll do my second attempt to bring it all together, and I will simplify it this time. If you had negative thoughts playing out and all you were doing was dwelling on negative thoughts and you experience negative things, that clearly shows you don't need to hit the bullseye with your subconscious mind. You could simply just think a certain way consistently enough for it to play out. So when it comes to manifestation process, don't worry so much about being perfect. Yes, do the best you can. I'm not absolving you of doing the work. I'm not absolving you of putting effort in. Do the work when necessary. But understand that there is a big difference between showing up each and every time it is necessary and trying to force yourself to perfect it each and every time it is necessary. If you weren't perfecting your negative thoughts and still experience negatives, then you don't need to perfect your positive thoughts to still experience positive. You just need to ensure that you are more focused on the positive than you are on the negative. So have your structured day, 5 to 10 minutes in the morning, 5 to 10 minutes in the evening. Catch your thoughts as you go through the day. Do some deep breathing if negativity comes up, and then guide it towards the favorable again anyway, just to keep yourself guiding attention towards that positive outcome. Try, where possible, to do things from joy, love, peace, calmness. You're doing these manifestation techniques because you're remembering in consciousness what you already have. So enjoy it. Have fun. Say your affirmations with a smile. Visualize with a smile. Enjoy what you are doing. Because the more that you can enjoy it, the more you're going to allow it to flow. The universe favors flow. Remember the singing example. Remember the sports example. You can add this to anything. Writing a novel. Cooking a dinner while playing music and just having a good time, and it turns out perfect. The universe favors flow. It favors surrender. So what we want to do is guide our surrender towards our favorable outcome. We're not surrendering to what is and just going, oh, well, bad things have happened. I guess I just have to deal with it. We're not surrendering in that way. We're still being intentional with our focus, but we're going, this is my goal. These are the thoughts that help me create it. I'm surrendering to these thoughts. I'm going back to these thoughts, these feelings, where applicable, these actions, and I'm letting the universe bring it to me. If you can do that, you're good as gold. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to catch every single thought. You don't need to stress yourself and lose sleep trying to force sats and things like that. If you enjoy sats, great. If you're good at sats, great. If you want to try sats, great. But just remember that you'll be far more effective by just doing things that you enjoy while guiding attention and focus towards your desired outcome than you would by trying to force something just because a TikTok said that if you're not doing this, then you ain't shit. We're trying to get eyes on the content. That's what it is. And when you're trying to get eyes on content, you start trying to make it like you're the only person who has the answer. It's actually one of the 48 laws of power to create a cult-like following. Sell something, but don't sell the entire answer, because that keeps people dependent on you, that keeps people following you, and so on. There's literally documented pieces of work on this very thing of creating some kind of niche solution, not giving the full solution so that people keep coming back more. I try as best as possible to give you as much of the solution as I possibly can, but that's kind of where this idea that you have to hit the bullseye comes from, is trying to close the gap more and more and more to make people think that you have the answer. And each creator is doing this in their own way, even if unintentionally. Each creator is doing this in their own way. When each creator is saying, this is the bullseye, this is the bullseye, this is the bullseye, this is the bullseye, and the bullseyes are dotted in all these different ways, no wonder people get confused. No wonder people think that this is harder than it needs to be. But just look at your own experiences when it comes to the negative. You weren't following some manifestation script for the negative, and yet you experienced it. That very same principle happens with the positive as well. We just need to get you doing it in the more positive sense. So really hope you've enjoyed this video. I understand it's probably a bit longer than I had intended it to, but hopefully that's because there's nothing but value in this for you. But thank you very much for being here with me. Drop me a like and a comment if you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you need my help on a one-to-one basis to tailor advice specifically to your situation, so you don't have to try and piece together these videos and many others in a sort of general Frankenstein's monster kind of amalgamation, down below in the comment section and the description are the links to my website, where you can find my one-to-one services. You can find products that I have to help you do it yourself, but with sort of a bit of a guided helping hand. Or, which I highly recommend, the Academy, where you can get one-on-one coaching with me simply for signing up. All of my courses, all of my exclusive videos, every product I have, and a 25% discount on other things, and much, much more. You could join for a life option, which means once payments are done, never another penny for you, and you'll get anything that I add from here. Or you can get the monthly access, which is cancel anytime. Go check those out if you're serious about manifesting, if you're serious about succeeding. But for now, I will catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for being here.